Thai horror is famous for movies like Shutter, PMAC, and The Medium. But Thailand has produced dozens of creepy, disturbing, and seriously underrated horror films that barely get mentioned outside the country. So today, we're going deeper. Here are 7 lesser-known Thai horror movies that deserve much more attention. And stay until number 1, because it's probably the hidden gem on this list. At number 7, Long Weekend 2013. The story follows a group of young people who travel to an island that locals warn them is cursed. Naturally, they ignore the warning. But there's something much worse waiting for them there. At the center of the story is Thong Suk, a bullied and mysterious young man whose connection to the supernatural becomes increasingly disturbing. The movie currently sits at around 5.2 on IMDb, so it isn't the highest-rated film here. But if you're looking for an obscure Thai supernatural horror that most people have never heard of, this one is worth discovering. At number 6, 999 to 9999 2003. What if you could call a mysterious phone number and have any wish granted? Sounds amazing, right? There's just one problem. Everyone who uses the number eventually dies. That's the basic premise of this movie, released in 2003. The movie follows students who become fascinated by the mysterious number, and what starts as a supernatural curiosity quickly turns into a nightmare. With only around 680 IMDb ratings, this is genuinely obscure. At number 5, The Screen at Camp Shanad 2007. Now we're getting seriously obscure. The story takes place in a forest where 4 movie projectionists are hired to screen a film. But there's a problem. Nobody shows up. Then, just as the movie is about to finish, people suddenly emerge from the forest and begin watching. And that's when things become terrifying. The audience doesn't behave like normal people. And eventually, they begin disappearing just as mysteriously as they appeared. At number 4, Countdown 2012. 3 young people invite a mysterious stranger into their apartment for a New Year's Eve celebration. They expect a crazy night. Instead, they get terror. What begins as a party gradually becomes a disturbing psychological and supernatural nightmare, as the mysterious stranger reveals that he isn't who they thought he was. The entire movie takes place largely within a confined apartment, which gives the horror a claustrophobic feeling.
Welcome to the night of your life.
Now you want to know who I am.
At number 3, Body 19 2007. This is where things get seriously disturbing. Released in 2007, this movie follows a young man who begins experiencing terrifying dreams about a woman being brutally murdered. But there's a problem. The dreams feel far too real. And everyone around him keeps telling him that the woman doesn't actually exist. As the nightmares continue, he begins searching for answers, and slowly discovers that his dreams may be connected to something much darker. The movie mixes psychological horror, mystery, body horror, and supernatural elements. At number 2, Dorm 2006. A lonely student named Tun struggles to fit in after being sent away from home. Then he meets another lonely boy named Vichian. The two become friends. But Tun eventually discovers something horrifying. Vichian is actually a ghost. And his death is connected to a tragic event at the school. What makes Dorm special is that it isn't simply trying to scare you every few minutes. It's a supernatural mystery wrapped inside a coming-of-age story. And surprisingly, it works emotionally as well as it does as horror. And at number 1, The Unseeable 2006. A pregnant woman named Newulgen travels to Bangkok, searching for her missing husband. Along the way, she finds shelter at a mysterious estate. But the house isn't normal. Strange shadows move through the property. People appear and disappear. The residents refuse to explain what's happening. And Newulgen slowly realizes that the estate is hiding a terrible secret. What makes The Unseeable stand out is its gothic atmosphere and slow-building supernatural mystery. It currently has a 6.8 IMDb rating, but only around 1,100 ratings. So despite being one of the best-rated movies here, it remains remarkably obscure. So those were 7 Thai horror movies that deserve much more attention. Some are creepy, some are disturbing, and some are so obscure that you've probably never even heard their names before. Which one would you watch first? And if you want more hidden horror gems from around the world, subscribe to Cursed Reel Reviews.